Hey guys, so today I'm going to take and try to rebuild my shower knob. I already tried doing it in Tinkercad, and I should have done the recording on how I did it, but I'll go back into the try to get a screen capture of how I built it here in just a moment. Anyway, the old shower knob, this thing's probably 12, 13 years old. It's got a split that just develops. Every time I go to turn it, because of the way it's designed on the inside, it opens up, and so it won't grab a hold of the shaft that comes out of the assembly to turn off the water. So I'm having to pinch it. So what I did is I went ahead and I designed it. As you can tell, it's got like a little nub right there in the middle. There's where it's squared off a little bit on the round shaft, and that way it'll pinch hold of the shaft and turn it. So I try to get as many measurements as I can. End up borrowing one of my neighbor's calipers to measure the shaft. So let me go ahead and show you in Tinkercad what I did, and then we'll try getting this thing printed. I'll see you in just a moment. Okay, so now we're back into the model here. So what we'll do now is I'm just going to select the model. I'm going to turn it into a hole now. So now that you can see, after all the different pieces are made into holes, made into solids and everything else, this is kind of an x-ray of what it looks like. This portion right here is for the recess for the screw to set into. Then we have the hole that's a 4mm hole that runs down so for the screw to screw into the end of the shaft. We have the home for the shaft to go through, along with the two square pieces, which if I rotate it here, hopefully we can see it. And what this does, that creates the square for the, let me get through here. It's kind of different trying to rotate into this. As you can see, the shaft will have it where it's flat, so that'll pinch onto that shaft. And then we have our collar here that will hold everything together. And this right here is just so that the shaft, the portion of it that isn't flattened, it passes through there just fine. I believe it's a 10mm shaft. And let's go ahead and zoom out here. I created a sphere, and then I cut it off and then put a sphere inside of it and made it into a hole so I could cap it over it to give it this beveled edge on the top part. And then of course on the outside I took the cylinders and changed the shape of them, added a half sphere at the bottom of them, and kind of made them flatter so that I could give it something to somewhat look like the original knob. Gives you something to grab hold of, especially when it's wet, so it's not slipping through your fingers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this model. I'm going to take it over into NetFab and do the repair. Every time I do anything in Tinkercad, I always run it through NetFab, and then from after run it through NetFab and re-download it, it'll be ready to slice and to print. So I'll see in just a moment. Okay, so now this is where I always go to do my repair. It's always done, I do it online. So I go to this netfab dot, however you spell that. Anyway, it's actually it's part of Microsoft. So what you do is just go into sign in. I have it where it automatically signs in, so that way my information doesn't show up. I'm going to upload the model. Once again, the computer is being very sluggish because of the screen capture. We're just going to go ahead and do this. Okay, so when you get this error right here, that means that the file name is messed up. So what we want to do is we want to go, either want to download it after I corrected the file name, or you can just simply go into your file manager, and that's going to be under downloads, I believe. And we're just going to take this, we're going to rename it. If I Just click it one more time. There we go. I'm just going to click. Anytime it has a number or any of these other symbols, that's when it starts messing up your file. So all you have to do is just rename it. Shower knob. Perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and just refresh this page. If you're hearing some beeping, don't worry, it's my wife checking her cell phone. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and send the shower knob to NetFab. So what's going to do now is it's going to upload to their server. It's going to repair it, as it's doing right now. And then as soon as it is complete, it'll light up over here for download. I click that button, and now it's going to download. As you can see, now it says shower knob fixed, STL. So when we go into Cura, that's what we're going to open. So let me go ahead and get into that. Okay, so now we're inside Cura, and this is the one I always use. I will eventually upgrade to the newer version, but right now this one's working for me. So I'm going to have it where it says layer height 2.2. That works for me. It doesn't. Me and my wife will be the only ones that will ever see it, so I'm not really worried about it. Shell thickness 1.2. I do want thick on the outside part. Bottom thickness, top bottom thickness I have is 1.2. That's what I usually go with. Fill density. In this case, I'm probably going to go ahead. I like it to be somewhat clear, so I'll probably go ahead and take it to 100%. If you do it at anything below 100%, you're going to see the infill, and I'd rather have it solid. I want it to last, or at least as long as PLA can last. Print speed I have is 50 right now. Printing temperature 198. That's probably going to be fine. You know what? I'll just make it even 200. I like even numbers. Bed temperature 65. We'll go ahead and crank that up to 70. I am going to use the Hatchbox Clear PLA. Or not Hatchbox, it's going to be Shaxon Clear PLA. Support, we are going to want support. We just want it touching the build plate. We're not going to do anything up on top or down the sides or anything. Just build plate would be fine. Platform adhesion, I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to be just fine. Anytime you have a circle on a build plate, usually it stays put. The only time you really want to kind of worry about adhesion is like for models and stuff like that. That's the only time. Like the Joel Telling model, by rights I should have used a brim or something, but if I ever print him again, I'm going to put him on a pedestal. Okay, so filament, I have 1.75 machine. Flow rate's going to be 100%. My nozzle size is 0.4. Advanced settings, I have the retraction set at 30 millimeters per second and distance of 4.5. It works for me. Initial layer thickness, always have it where it's a little bit thicker. That way, if your print bed's a little bit out of kilter, it's guaranteed it's going to stick. If you do it at 0.2, then it may or may not if you have any differences in your print bed. Initial line width, 115%. That way it gives it a little bit wider line for your first layer. I don't worry about the rest of it. Travel speed 70, bottom layer speed's 15. I have that turned down quite a bit so it sticks better. Infill speed, anytime you see zeros, that defaults to the original print speed, which I believe was 50 right now. By rights, I could turn that up, but I think for this one, I'll just leave it that way. That way it'll print a little bit nicer. Outer shell speed I have is 25. That seems to be working pretty good for me right now. Yeah, plugins I don't worry about. G-code I don't worry about. And then expert settings. Make sure I've got everything set right over here. Minimum travel 1.5 millimeters. Minimal extrusion before retracting is 0.02. Z-hop. I like the Z-hop. That way it takes the nozzle off your print and moves it across it instead of dragging it across, and you can see the line afterward. line count, I have it where it goes around 3 times. That way it primes the nozzle, and there's no, it's got a solid amount of PLA coming out of the nozzle instead of it being a little bit thin because it kind of oozed out or whatever. So that way it starts out the print with a good solid stream of plastic. Cooling, none of this matters. My fans are on all the time, so I'm not worried about it. Infill, that's all set. I have it set for grid. I need to go ahead and switch that back over to lines for this one, I believe. Overhang angle, 45%. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do that to 60. I think I can go 65, but I'm just going to go 60. Fill amount, 10%. Distance 0.9 from the X and Y, and then distance from Z is 4. That's been working pretty good for me. This one I wanted to make sure, because I did do a few models here recently where I had the spiralized set, so I want to make sure that was off. That's the whole reason why I'm in this. That and to show you my settings again. Brim, not worried about. Raft, I'm not worried about. And this down here, I've never messed with it, so I don't plan on messing with it now. Okay, so with all that set, we'll go ahead and bring the model in. Or use the fixed one. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do, because once again I'm taxing this machine pretty bad doing the video capture along with it. It's actually moving. But I'll just go ahead and pause this, and it'll do it almost instantly. So hang on for just a second. Okay. So it says right here, this is about 10 seconds later, by the way. That's how bad, I just need to get into this machine, either put more memory in it or get a different computer or something. It's just a little too much for it. I'm using my mom's laptop right now. Okay, so it's going to take 2 hours, 47 minutes to print. It's going to use 11.77 meters of plastic, and it's going to cost me 88 cents to print it. When you add in electricity, you're probably talking 95 cents to $1. Where else can you buy a shower knob for $1? Okay, so I'm going to send that to my SD card. I'm going to take it out to the printer, and I'll set up a time lapse, and I will see you at the end of the time lapse. Okay, so that was 2 hours and 44 minutes. And it looks like it turned out all right. Let's see if I can take it off gently. I don't feel where it's raised up anything on the corners, so let me just give it a little. Let's give it a little bit of a whack here from the side. Usually loosens it up enough. Or not. I need to get a little hammer or something to do this with. There we go. Sometimes if I have a little raised corner, I can take the Build-Tech spatula and slide underneath it. But in this case, it is a little bit tougher. break up the support material. Make sure that's in right. See, let me find a little screwdriver I could push into there. Yeah, I don't have one in here. Oh yeah, I got a Phillips. That'll work for now. I've got a little tool set and put in here. Just kind of break out the support material. I don't have to get super clean, to be honest with you, because it's not going to, that part's never going to be seen. Let's see. Do you need something I can fish through there to take out the rest of the little pieces? Thought I found something. Well, I know, I can just use this little blade here. That'll work. To get the support material the best I can. That'll work. Well, it's not an exact copy. I wasn't able to get the dome to it like I would have liked to have done. If I had another 30 minutes or an hour to design it, I probably could have come up with something. My main thing was to make sure that these are pretty close to the same level, which they are. As far as the inside goes, I got those measured out fairly decent. As you can see, that's, I think you can see, let's get a little bit more light going on here. See, it's got that square at the top and the square at the bottom. Just like the original one here. Forgive the dirt and everything in there. So it's pretty close that way. I'll be honest with you, this is my second attempt. The first time my filament got tangled on the spool, and so it failed. I did take, it printed that much of it, and I already broke the support material off of that. But I did take this out there and try it on the shower, the faucet, and it does fit. So I know it's going to fit just fine. But I wish it was more clear like the original, but it's not. But it's all right. The faucet itself is, like I said, it's getting up there. I'm going to end up changing it out probably within the next year anyway. So this is going to be just fine. I don't have the off put on it, and I don't have I believe the name of the Mixit is the name of the. I don't even know if they're even still around or not. This is the one I got from Home Depot years ago. But I think that's going to work, though. I think that's going to work just fine. I'll put it on there and it'll be all set. I did have somebody make a comment last night, in fact, about if 3D printers could be used for anything other than just toys and upgrading themselves. And for me, this is the kind of stuff I like to do. I just like to, if I have something broken, I'll take and I'll try my best to fix it. And the nice thing about 3D printers is it gives you a whole another way of trying to do it. I mean, used to, everything I did was with metal, so it's either welding or something in that direction. This is a whole lot easier. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. I did recently start a Patreon campaign. I'm not going to push it or nothing. It's something that if somebody wants to donate to it, that it's greatly appreciated, but it's not, I think it's not going to be mandatory at all. It's just if if anybody wants to help the channel out, what I would ideally would love to do is make the channel where it's self-sufficient. You know, pretty much the filament, everything that way that I need to buy. That's something that will be something that doesn't have to come out of my pocket. But at the same time, I'm perfectly fine with it, to be honest with you. One thing I would love to do in the future, and it's something that at this point is still way down the road, is I would love to be to the point where I can actually buy some of these smaller, cheaper 3D printers that are kits and be able to assemble them and make a video like I did with the G-Tech on assembling that 3D printer and then trying it out. If there's no quirks to it, kind of work out the quirks like I did with this machine even. But like I said, it's something I'd like to do, but it's right now that's off a ways. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.